update on the efforts to restore the Aquaponics Farm at Ivanna High School after the loss of all its tilapia due to tampering. Meanwhile, pink was the color of the day as many showed support for the school. Plus, October 15th is set aside each year for White Cane Safety Day. On St. Croix, the Lions Club and the Center for Independent Living held their annual ceremony. Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Last week may not have been a good week for Eudora High School when its Aquaponics Farm lost all of its tilapia to tampering. But this week, Eudora shows that a concerned community has the power to turn things around. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Last week, Wednesday, Eudora students and teachers were met with a horrific scene. All 800 tilapia bred in its aquaponics farm dead overnight.
When I came, I saw the floor lined with fish. This floor was just lined with about 50 fish.
The public is outraged at what they called senseless violence, and many offered a helping hand. On Friday, politicians joined the Kean community for a thorough cleanup of the farm.
Today we have a lot of volunteers from the community assisting the principal and the students in a very good project.
We are volunteering to clean up the tilapia farm, and we try and help Ms. McCallum because I know she's stressing out on everything. So
that is true.
Kean alumni also stepped up, standing in the hot sun, asking motorists for donations toward the tilapia farm.
What we are doing right now is raising funds and getting the community to be sensitized as to what is going on.
How about networking as one? Whoever to benefit the whole school, and not necessarily the school, the whole community.
The baby tilapia that survived the poisoning are carefully kept in this tank. These and the 800 more donated by the Bureau of Corrections will help build a new generation of fish.
We want to let the community know that we want to be part of our community and help this program to come back.
But before Eudora can take the new fish in, it means to do some serious ramping up of security.
Increased lighting, interior and exterior. Cameras are going to be placed out there, state-of-the-art cameras that I'll be able to look at from home.
The community response is overwhelming. Now, just 1 week later, the tilapia farm is getting back on its feet. With community support, these freshly cleaned tanks are just waiting for their new tenants to move in. And Kean students and staff are confident that when they do, it won't take long for the aquaponics farm to make a solid comeback. April Knight for News 2.
Eudora continues to accept donations in kind, not just cash, and the Kean community gives kudos to the larger VI community for its response. Meanwhile, Eudora has also received a donation from Innovative today. Innovative's executives joined Eudora staff and alumni in the Kean Library, where the gift was officially handed over. Kean received a total of $5,000 to help out the school in buying much-needed supplies.
It was $5,000, $3,000 of which we're going to use to support purchase of textbooks for the mathematics department, and the other $2,000 will be spread around the campus to facilitate educational projects.
Earlier this year, we approached Dr. McCallum. You know, we see the work that she's doing. She's very, very enthusiastic and very aggressive when it comes to education, and we are really receptive to that. So we asked her, what can we do for you? Today it's a bittersweet day because we're excited about the fact that we're able to give $5,000, but you know, after what happened last week, I mean, you know, that was a bit of a setback, and it's very discouraging. So we're hoping that with this, they can see that they're going to continue to get support, not just from us, but from the community, so they can do great work.
Also, Senator Clifford Graham wanted to stand with Eudora and the PTSA, who organized the Pink Shirt Day as a way for residents to support the school. So although he was chairing a committee hearing over St. Croix, Graham still wore his pink shirt to show his support.
I have on my pink in solidarity with my high school, Ivanna High School. Of course, you know what happened last week when someone mysteriously poisoned the tilapia fish that the school has been doing for years. It's a nationally recognized program, and I really wanted to support my alma mater and wear my pink in solidarity to the school. And I just want the school to know that I will be there to ensure that that tilapia farm is back and back in full force.
And many others were seen in their pink shirts. Congresswoman Donna Christensen and her territorial colleagues are trying to make sure legislation affecting the territories moves forward. Last week, the territorial delegates met with the new ranking member of the House of Natural Resources Committee to talk about their priorities now stalled in Congress. NEWS2's Erica Parsons has more.
The House Natural Resources Committee has a new ranking member, Peter DeFazio.
Congressman Markey, who's now a senator, was the ranking member, so he's just coming in.
So the territorial delegates approached the congressman for a meeting to address their priorities now stalled in Congress.
It was very important, and we're glad that he did see it fit to really meet with us and hear what our particular concerns were.
For Christensen, those concerns include the VI's energy crisis, for which she has two pieces of legislation.
That Interior would assemble a team of experts and other agencies to work with us on our energy issues, to help us do the transition, to make sure that we have all of the expertise that we need to do that. In addition to that, we discussed my other bill, which I believe is H.R. 92, which would put funding, take funding from the Rural Utilities Loan Program and put it into the High Energy Cost Grant Program.
Getting parts of St. Croix declared a National Heritage Area.
We want to have that established here because it's important to us, especially now, and it comes with funding that the National Heritage Area can apply for every year.
That funding is up to $1 million a year for 10 years. Delegate Christensen's bills are all included in an omnibus bill, and she says their meeting with Congressman DeFazio was positive, and it should be since he would be chief advocate for the territories outside of the delegates themselves.
There are a lot of issues that are important. That bill, the omnibus bill, is also in the Senate, and so out of our conversation, he'll be meeting with Senator Wyden to collaborate on it and see how we can best move it to get it forward.
Erica Parsons, NEWS2.
The House Natural Resources Committee has oversight of the territories. The delegates who met with Congressman DeFazio represented American Samoa, Puerto Rico, Northern Marianas, and the Virgin Islands. Meanwhile, after days of inaction in Washington, there are now dueling plans to reopen the government and head off a default just before Thursday's deadline. Danielle Nottingham reports from Capitol Hill.
Senate leaders are close to locking in a deal to end the budget standoff, but they're putting it on hold while they watch what happens in the House.
We're working with our members on our way forward and to make sure that we provide fairness to the American people.
The Senate plan would reopen and fund the government until mid-January and extend the debt limit until February. House Republicans have a similar plan with more GOP sweeteners, including a 2-year delay in the health care law's tax on medical devices and canceling health insurance subsidies for members of Congress and the president's cabinet.
You know, the president signed a bill that left himself out of Obamacare but put members of Congress in. I think it's time that the president go into Obamacare.
Democrats here on Capitol Hill are accusing House Republicans of trying to derail the Senate compromise.
And it's nothing more than a blatant attack on bipartisanship.
This is an effort to sabotage it, which means delay also, but not only that, to undermine it.
The White House says if the House bill makes it to the president's desk, he will veto it. Danielle Nottingham, NEWS2.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Coca-Cola reported a higher quarterly profit boosted by strong sales in emerging markets, including China, India, and Russia. Sales are suffering in some parts of the world, like Mexico, where the government is considering a heavy tax on sugary soft drinks. And Wall Street continues its waiting game as negotiations in Washington continue. The stock market was mostly flat as cautious investors keep an eye on Thursday's deadline. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. Everything down. The Dow 133, NASDAQ 21, S&P 12. Coming up on NEWS2, October 15th is set aside each year for White Cane Safety Day. On St. Croix, the Lions Club and the Center for Independent Living held their annual ceremony to recognize the visually impaired. Police continue to investigate an early morning shooting that left 2 dead and 1 injured. Akila Godet and Jamor Lewis were killed, and a 23-year-old male was also shot in his leg. Detectives say the incident occurred on October 14th, just after 2 a.m. at the Cokie Point Beach Bar. In their preliminary investigation report, detectives said there was a large gathering at the venue when several patrons became involved in a melee, and one or more individuals began shooting. Akila Godet, the female victim, was struck by at least one bullet to her upper body. The male victim, Jamor Lewis, was shot several times in his upper body. A 15-year-old boy drowned Monday afternoon in Frederickstead. According to police, the young man was with friends when they all jumped off the dock at the Ann Abramson Pier just after 3 p.m. The 15-year-old went under at least twice and struggled to keep himself up. 2 adult swimmers in the area went to the rescue, while nearby boaters were able to pull him out of the water. Several people tried to resuscitate the teen before emergency responders stepped in, but all their efforts were unsuccessful. The young man has been identified by the Daily News as Adondre Brathwaite. And the search is still on for a 16-year-old minor who was last seen on October 11th. Deneva Michelle Worrell left the girls' group home at approximately 10:30 p.m. in an all-white Mazda truck with 2 adult males and a female teen. The 3 individuals reportedly appeared at the group home without authorization and asked to leave the premises. Worrell is 5 feet tall, 171 pounds, with black hair, dark brown eyes, and a dark complexion. She was wearing a multicolored tube-top dress with a white jacket adorned with red, white, and blue lettering. Please contact the VIPD Juvenile Bureau at 715-5541 or 778-2211. Well, what is the link between violence and mental illness? This was the topic today at the Rotary Sunrise Club's weekly meeting as part of its Practice Peace initiative, an effort to help reduce all forms of violence in the community. Rotary Sunrise invited a psychologist to explore the link between violence and mental health. Psychologist Sheena Walker tried to eliminate some misconceptions about those suffering from mental illness.
The vast majority of people that struggle with mental illness are not violent. They tend to be more of the victims of violence, like the Virginia Tech perpetrator or the perpetrator that was in Colorado. I tend to think that the stigma of being a mentally ill patient or sufferer is really what leads to them not complying with the necessary treatments or not going out and getting the help that's needed. So you'll hear examples over and over of how people have attempted to reach out to other people, whether they be friends or family, before they engage in these horrific acts.
Acting Education Commissioner Dr. Donna Fred Gregory is encouraging schools territory-wide to join VI Department of Education in celebrating National Day on Writing, which is observed annually on Sunday, October 20th, with public activities scheduled for Monday, October 21st. Organized by the National Council of Teachers in English, National Day on Writing highlights the importance of writing, practice, and instruction at every grade level, from preschool through university in every subject area. Emphasis is also placed on the need for learning how to compose for different audiences, purposes, and occasions, while also enjoying and learning how to write for fun. Well, October 15th is set aside each year for White Cane Safety Day. On St. Croix, the Lions Club and the Center for Independent Living held their annual ceremony to recognize the visually impaired. They talked about the significance of White Cane Day and presented 3 white canes to individuals who needed them. After the ceremony, dozens of people with disabilities and their supporters took to the streets for their annual walk.
And sight-related injuries and maladies is one of the major projects of the Lions International Organization, of which we are a part.
It's a type of education to the community because we want motorists to understand that the streets, the sidewalks, are as much for persons who are blind and vision impaired as they are for anybody else. And they're supposed to know to respect these people when they see them there, that they have the right of way. That's what the White Cane Law says.
WorkAble Inc. and the VI Department of Labor will launch the new DMD Pipeline Initiative. The year-long pipeline approach offers a new journey towards self-empowerment, self-sufficiency, and independence for transitioning youth with disabilities and others with support needs. The goal is to help build a pipeline of skilled, talented workers among our transitioning youth with disabilities and others with support needs. Each student will earn 6 community service credit hours for their participation, and that's Wednesday, October 16th and Thursday, October 17th, both at DOL locations. The programs are from 9 to 12:45. Lionfish pose a significant risk to USVI coral reef ecosystems and fisheries resources, and the fight to get rid of them is ongoing. The Nature Conservancy and a DPNR contractor are launching a series of informational public forums to gather information on activities and accomplishments to date, incorporating new activities in the management plan and filling in gaps on what is needed. They need input from community members who are active in lionfish control. They will present a summary of current activities on St. Croix Tuesday, October 22nd at the Nature Conservancy's Estate Little Princess from 4 to 6 p.m. and on St. Thomas on Thursday, October 24th at UVI's Administration and Conference Center, room 203. That's also from 4 to 6 p.m. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.